Did you know that there was an Eddsworld DVD at some point? Way back in 2009, Ed Gold and Tomska decided to create a DVD that contained a few episodes and shorts. The episodes being Spares, Matt Sucks, and Santa Claus, with the shorts being Ambulance, Wienermobile, Dial Up, and Random Moments. The DVD was nothing more than a compilation of certain animations, with the only exclusive animation being Wienermobile.
To the Wienermobile! Wiener, 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 wiener.
The DVD was presumed lost media for many years, up until 2023, when YouTuber Edegg just so happened to find a DVD lying around. There isn't really anything too special about this DVD, aside from this one artwork of Ed shown in the menu. Wish they still made DVDs today, honestly. We finally got a full new Eddsworld animation, but was it any good? Well, the main plotline of the episode is rather simple. It's just the three main guys bowling where wacky hijinks ensue. It's nothing too big or complex. Hell, we didn't even get to see Tord. And the pacing is rather slow with not a lot going on. But what I will say is that this episode was funny. Like, really funny. There were so many jokes and visual gags that genuinely had me dying of laughter, with some jokes being so subtle that they can honestly be hard to catch. Even the guys going bowling is somehow hilarious, with Ed and Matt being amazing, and Tom being awful. We do get a reference to Tom's man being a bowling ball though. Only nitpick I have is that they didn't make a GTA 4 reference, otherwise this is genuinely a fantastic episode. Eddsworld is finally making a Tord U2 figure, let's go! For those who aren't aware, Tord is a big fan favorite character amongst Eddsworld fans, and despite his lackluster goodbye in the End Part 2, fans still love this goofy little communist who loves guns and hentai. And once Ed, Matt, and Tom started to get their own U2's figures, fans were begging to get a figure of Tord. And it looks like our prayers were finally answered, since Eddsworld just announced that Tord figure is coming soon. I don't usually collect any figurines, purely because I'm too broke for them, but Tord is one of my favorite characters from Eddsworld, so I will 100% be taking out a mortgage to buy it. What do you guys think? The new Eddsworld short is kinda mediocre. After a few months of silence, Eddsworld started a new program on the channel called EW Shorts, and the first short to release under its new title was Matt Gets the Mail. Now, while I am slightly disappointed that this isn't a full episode like we were all hoping for, I was still excited for this cause it's Eddsworld. But after watching the short, I deadass had nothing to say about it. It's just really bland with nothing really funny going on. I guess there's only so much you can do with the minute-long runtime about Matt getting the mail. The only proper joke here is that he gets taken away by a hawk and the other two don't really care about it. As usual though, the animation is really good, they never fail in that department. Not a terrible short, but it doesn't really leave an impact. There is a long-lost episode of Eddsworld that not a lot of people know about. During the early days of Eddsworld back in 2005, Ed and Tom were both working on a musical episode about how much they hate traveling in London. It wasn't a full episode per se, but more of a music video, kinda similar to the Money music video. However, they ended up cancelling the animation due to the 7/7 bombing in London. Tomska's only released one image and claims there was about 20 seconds of animation, but it's safe to say we won't be seeing that anytime soon. Remember when there was almost an Eddsworld movie? It was a massive fan project where a ton of Eddsworld fans came together to create a movie based on Eddsworld. It didn't have any involvement from the Eddsworld team, but Matt Hargraves, Eddie Boley, and Tomska showed nothing but support. It was originally intended to be released in 2014, marking the 10-year anniversary of Eddsworld, but sadly it faced many production issues such as a lack of animators and script problems. The team behind the movie did everything they could to keep the film alive, including rewrites and bringing on new animators, but sadly in 2020 they announced that the film had been cancelled due to a lack of animators and a poor script. On YouTube there are a plethora of animatics and completed animation scenes from the film, and it doesn't look half bad. I would highly recommend you guys check out the work print of the film. It's very interesting to look back at what could have happened. The Birds and the Bees is easily the worst Eddsworld short out there. While I don't necessarily hate modern Eddsworld, The Birds and the Bees is just so bad. The animation is about this mad scientist creating this bird bee monster and falling in love with it. Then she breaks up with him and ends off with a sponsor from Audible. It's hard to even call this an episode since none of the main characters are in this episode. The only joke is that this mad scientist falls in love with a monster, and the short runtime does not allow for any more jokes or gags. It also doesn't help that half of this episode is just a sponsor for Audible, which I wouldn't usually mind per se, but the fact that sponsorship takes up half the runtime makes the short feel so pointless. Even if the animation is really good, it doesn't change the fact that... Have you ever noticed how there are lots of zombies in Eddsworld? If you're a big fan of Eddsworld like me, then you would notice how there are lots of episodes that focus on zombies. Of course, there are the zombie attack episodes, which are sort of separated from the main Eddsworld series, and were actually some of the first ever episodes, dating all the way back to 2005. It even has Tord's old design where he wore black. Then you have the Zombie Nation episode, where Matt is stuck in an underground station full of zombies. Then there's the Fun Dead episode, where the gang are in an amusement park with zombies infesting the area. And more recently we had Zombie Picnic, which is basically just a music video about zombies. There were other episodes where zombies made small cameos, and it got me wondering why there are so many zombies in the series. My guess is that Ed Gould was a big fan of zombie movies and wanted to add them into his animations. The new Eddsworld short Surf Inter Force Part 2 is actually kind of good. I've made it very clear in the past that I'm not really the biggest fan of modern Eddsworld. Like, I wouldn't say the shorts are terrible, but they're not really good, if you get what I mean. Like, Surf Inter Force Part 1 was kind of mediocre. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. I wasn't really expecting much from Part 2, but to my surprise it was actually kind of good. I really like the jokes in the volleyball section, and the sinking ship jokes are hilarious, especially the Titanic jokes, and the pacing as well was really good and didn't feel rushed whatsoever. And as usual, the animation was very good, as well as the visual jokes. I feel like this short is finally getting Eddsworld back on track, and I honestly can't wait to see more of them. All I ask is we get a new Tord episode.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
Could Tord return to Eddsworld? Is a question that almost every Eddsworld fan has been asking for years now. Tord first left the series back in 2008, due to his voice actor quitting the series because of toxic fans. He did briefly return in Legacy, where he was voiced by Jamie Spicer Lewis. Now I'd say it's kinda possible for Tord to return in the new series, but they will need to find a clever way to integrate him with the other main characters, since the way they brought him back in Legacy was kinda bad, to be honest. He did make a brief cameo in the most recent episode, The Chronicles of Santa, so it is possible. And I hope that they do something funny with his character, and also get him a new voice actor, since Jamie Spicer Lewis is a genuine awful person. But I would personally love to see Tord return in the new series, since it'll answer the question, did you know that there was an Eddsworld podcast? In 2009, Ed, Matt, and Tom hosted the official first episode of the Eddsworld podcast, where they answered some questions from fans and just had a bit of a laugh, really. Unfortunately, this will be the only episode ever produced, as only one episode was ever recorded, and the episode itself has been lost to time, unfortunately. All that remains is a 42-second clip of the guys explaining what happened to Tord. It's unknown where the rest of the episode is now, or if it'll ever see the light of day. They did attempt to record another podcast in 2020 with Christopher Bingham and John Lopez, but once again, this podcast was never released. It's a shame, since I think an Eddsworld podcast would be awesome to listen to. What would you guys want to hear in an Eddsworld podcast? Let me know down in the comments below. Tord is officially returning to Eddsworld. Let's go! So just randomly out of the blue today, Matt Hargraves posted an update video onto the Eddsworld Twitter and Instagram accounts, just giving a basic enough update on comics and upcoming animations. But near the halfway point, we see the video get interrupted, and we are shown what appears to be a water tank of sorts, and slowly we see Tord walk up to the tank in visible pain, then giving the camera a cheeky out smile. Now this is huge for Eddsworld fans, since we all kind of assumed that Tord was done with. Sure, we did briefly see him in the Chronicles of Santa, but that was a tiny cameo. But now it's official that he is returning. It's unknown what he'll be doing or who will even be voicing him. His legacy voice actor Jamie Spicer Lewis is kind of a creep now, so he's gone. Maybe the original Tord Larson perhaps? What do you guys think? Will Tord Larson ever return to Eddsworld? So we all know that Eddsworld teased how the fan favorite character Tord is returning to the series, and to say that fans are hyped would be an understatement. It's such a surreal moment to see him return after his mediocre send-off in Eddsworld Legacy, but a question that's on everyone's mind is, who will be voicing him? His legacy voice actor Jamie Spicer Lewis is kind of off the table for reasons, but could the real Tord Larson return? I am aware that he left the series over a decade ago due to the toxic fandom, but it would be a welcome surprise seeing the OG Tord return. But that's rather unlikely since Tord Larson has been off the internet for years now, but who knows? I guess we'll have to wait and see.